Greetings, fellow Dungeon Delvers, and welcome to Dorans and Dragons, where we work together to come up with Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition builds for your favorite League of Legends champions. Today we're building Wukong, the Monkey King. Wukong is a Vestayan trickster who is exiled from his tribe for his constant pranks. In his exile, Wukong roamed Ionia challenging people to duels or games of cunning. He kept this up until he was almost killed by a Noxian headsman. Noxus had set war upon Ionia, and Wukong sought out the Wuju to learn combat to protect the lands from them if they ever returned. He discovered a master of Wuju in his destroyed village, but refused to teach him until he learned humility. Wukong finally gave in and begged the master to teach him. Master Yi relented and taught him the Wuju style and granted him an enchanted staff crafted by Doran, the great weaponsmith. Now they roam Ionia together, combating evil wherever they find it. Before we get started with the build, go ahead and like the video and hit that subscribe button so you're always notified when we release our builds. We'd like to thank one of this month's Doran's Blade patrons, Man of Numbers. Thank you so much for your support. It means a lot to us. Man of Numbers chose Wukong to build as part of the rewards for our Blade tier patrons. Speaking of, we released our first homebrew, Denizens of the Void, to our Blade patrons this month. Here's a preview for next month's release, Into the Frozen Tundra, based on the Freljord. We also started a cool little merch shop. Come join us for discounts on that and homebrewed content every month. Alright, now let's get into it. First, let's cover the goals of this build. Wukong is a trickster first and foremost, so we need to make sure we get a decent clone that'll confuse your enemies. The Wuju style of combat is Wu's bread and butter, so we need to be able to fight with martial arts as well as his weapon. Finally, we need to be able to whirl his staff and scatter our enemies with it. For race, we're going to go with Bugbear. Bugbears have an ability that'll help us with the extended range on our Q Crushing Blow. Bugbears have a +2 to strength and a +1 to dexterity. They also gain that extra reach we mentioned earlier through the Long Limbed ability, which grants you +5 extra reach on melee weapon attacks made on your turn. You'll also have the powerful build feature, which makes you count as one size larger when you're determining your carrying and ability to move things. Sneaky gives us proficiency in the stealth skill, and finally we have surprise attack. If you surprise a creature and land a hit on your first turn of combat, the attack will deal an extra 2d6. For background, we're going to go with Charlatan. He's a foolish trickster through and through. Charlatans have proficiencies in deception and sleight of hand. You also get the false identity feature, which lets you create a second identity to assume whenever the need arises. This isn't exactly Wukong related, but in a lot of political intrigue campaigns this will help a ton. Look over there! It's a dice! No, it's a point buy! No, it's standard array! Roll if you'd like, but we need at least a 13 in Dexterity and Wisdom for multi-classing purposes. Dexterity is going to start us off. Wukong is incredibly quick-witted and will be able to use his Dexterity to swing his staff. Constitution is next. Wu builds plenty of tanky bruiser items, so this works out. After that, we'll grab Wisdom. He started off as a fool, but Master Yi's training really rounded him off. Charisma is going to be our 12 stat. To trick people well enough, you're going to need Charisma through the roof. Strength is going to be our average score. Normally we'd dump this, but you know what we need to dump for this character. Speaking of, our last stat is going to be Intelligence. I think this one is pretty self-explanatory. The only equipment we'll need for this build is a Quarterstaff. Granted by Master Yi and crafted by the great weaponsmith himself, Doran. Alrighty, let's start things off with a level in Monk. Monks have a d8 hit die and proficiencies with simple weapons and short swords. We'll also take skill proficiencies in acrobatics and athletics. Unarmored defense gives us AC equal to 10 plus your dex mod plus your wisdom mod, as long as you're not wearing a shield or armor, which is perfect because Wukong doesn't wear either. Our final level 1 feature is martial arts. Since we're just using Doran's staff, we'll gain a few benefits. We get to use our dex mod instead of strength for our staff and our unarmed attacks. We also get a scaling die that can replace our unarmed strikes with staff damage. Finally, whenever you make a melee attack, you can make one extra unarmed strike as a bonus action. Second level monks get their key. It's a pool of points equal to your monk level that empowers several of your skills. Each of the ones we get at this level costs 1 key point and use your bonus action. Flurry of Blows lets you take 2 unarmed strikes immediately after your attack action. Patient Defense lets you take the dodge action as your bonus action. Step of the Wind lets you get mobility by letting you dash or disengage as an action, and whenever you do, your jump distance is doubled for the turn. We also get Unarmored Movement online at this level. Your speed is going to start scaling with your monk level, and later on we'll get some more mobility options as well. At this level, our speed increases by 10 feet. Level 3 monks commit to their Monastic Tradition. We're going to honor our trickster in silly ways with the Way of the Drunken Master. You get bonus proficiencies with Brewer Supplies and the Drunken Technique. This empowers your flurry of blows. When you use it, you gain the benefits of Disengage and your walking speed increases another 10 feet. 4th level monks gain the first ability score improvement of the build. We're going to bump our health pool by taking the tough feat. For every character level you have, add 2 additional hit points. For the slow math folks out there, that'll be 40 free hit points at level 20. We also get the slow fall feature at this level. Anytime you're falling, you can burn your reaction to reduce the falling damage equal to 5 times your monk level. This, combined with your acrobatic skill proficiency, will let you do some crazy aerial moves on the battlefield. Level 5 monks get extra attack. This lets you make 2 attacks with your Doran staff instead of just 1 with your attack action. Stunning Strike comes online at this level as well. Whenever you hit a creature with a melee attack, you can spend 1 key point to stun them if they fail a con save. This lasts until the end of your next turn. Alrighty, now that we've gotten a solid Wuju base, time to get Wukong's trickster ways by taking a few levels in Cleric. Clerics have a D8 hit die and give us proficiency with light and medium armor as well as shields. We don't really care about those as Wu though, so disregard. First level clerics choose their Divine Domain, which is reflective of the god they worship and gain their abilities from. If it hasn't been clear, we're going with the Trickery Domain. For our first level, this just grants us the Blessing of the Trickster feature. This lets you touch a creature as an action and give it advantage on all stealth checks. This will help your big heavily armored friends cancel out their disadvantage from wearing that bulky armor. Second level clerics gain their Channel Divinity. Clerics have always at least 2 options here, Turn Undead and one related to their Divine Domain. In this case, it's Invoke Duplicity. Turn Undead lets you go ham, especially on the Shadow Isles. Any undead creature in 30 feet has to make a Wisdom save or spend its turn running away from you for a minute, or until it takes damage. Invoke Duplicity is how we're going to get our clone. As an action, you create a perfect illusion of yourself that lasts for a minute, or until you lose concentration. You can move this clone as a bonus action, and you can cast spells through the illusion as well. More importantly, whenever you and the clone are within 5 feet of a creature, you have advantage on attack rolls on that creature with your illusion acting as a distraction. Alright, now that we've got our decoy, it's time to angle towards our other abilities with some fighter levels. Fighters have a D10 hit die and give us proficiency with martial weapons. Level 1 fighters choose a fighting style as their specialty. We're going to take great weapon fighting for when you use your staff with 2 hands. When you do so, you get to re-roll any damage die that lands on a 1 or 2, once. This will give you a chance to remove those pesky 1s and 2s from your quarterstaff damage. You also get Second Wind, which is part of Wukong's Stone Skin passive. Once per rest, you can use a bonus action to regain 1d10 plus your fighter level and hit points. Insert reminder about hit die and Second Wind and short rests and blah blah blah. Second level fighters gain only 1 ability, Action Surge. This is one of the best features in the game. This lets you take an additional action on your turn once per rest. Action Surge will allow us to get our ultimate next level when we pick up a few features. Speaking of, level 3 fighters choose their martial archetype. To pick up Wukong's Q, E, and R, we're going to go with Battle Master. First, this gives us bonus artisan proficiency. More importantly though, we get our combat superiority. This gives us a pool of D8 superiority die that'll empower your Battle Master maneuvers. We start with 4 die and 3 maneuvers. Each of our maneuvers is going to be one of Wukong's abilities. Lunging attack will give us this Q, Crushing Blow. You can spend 1 superiority die and extend your reach by 5 feet. If the attack hits, you get to add your superiority die roll to the damage. Combined with your Bugbear trait, that makes your range 15 feet. Sweeping attack will give us our Nimbus Strike. Anytime you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can choose another target within 5 feet. If it would hit that target as well, they take damage equal to the superiority die. We get 2 attacks per turn, so you only need to use Sweeping Attack once to get the full effect of Nimbus Strike. Finally, we'll get our ultimate, Cyclone, with Trip Attack. Whenever you hit a target, you can spend a superiority die and force a strength save on it. If it fails, it's knocked prone. It's not a knock up, but a knock down. They're still CC'd though, so it works. We get 2 attacks, so just make sure you action surge when you want to use it. 4th level fighters gain an ability score improvement. We're going to take the Martial Adept feat to pick up another combat superiority die. You also get 2 more maneuvers, but they're not really relevant, so feel free to choose here. Alright, now back on to monk levels to finish out the build. 6th level monks get 3 features here. Key empowered strikes empower your unarmed strikes to count as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks. Our unarmored movement improves at this level to 15 feet instead of 10. And finally we get Tipsy Sway. This gives you 2 benefits. Leap to your feet lets you spend 5 feet of movement to stand instead of half. Redirect attack lets you spend 1 key point as a reaction whenever a melee attack misses you. You can choose a creature within 5 feet of you and cause that attack to hit it instead. Level 7 monks gain Evasion. This is a really strong feature that lets your agility assist you with dexterity saves. Anytime you fail a save that would normally allow you to take half damage if you succeed, you still take half damage, but if you succeed, you take no damage instead. You also gain Stillness of Mind. This allows you to Mikhail's Crucible yourself or cleanse anytime you're charmed or frightened as an action. 8th level monks get an ability score improvement. We're going to bump our dex by 2 points here for better attack rolls and damage. Level 9 monks get to parkour and Jesus walk with an unarmored movement improvement. You can move along vertical surfaces and across liquids on your turn without falling. 10th level monks gain Purity of Body. This makes you immune to disease and poison. We also get to bump our unarmored movement speed from 15 to 20 feet. Level 11 monks get Drunkard's Luck. This lets you spend 2 key points to cancel out any disadvantage you have on an ability check, attack, or save. 12th level monks gain the final ability score improvement of the build. We're going to max out our dex here with 2 more points. Level 13 monks get the Tongue of the Sun and Moon. This will let you understand all spoken languages, and any creature that can understand a language can understand you. This will definitely help with all of our Monkey King shenanigans. 14th level monks gain Diamond Soul. This grants you proficiency in all saving throws and lets us spend 1 key point to reroll any failed saves as long as we keep the result. This will give us the tankiness portion of our passive, Stone Skin. We also get our final unarmored movement speed increase. We're up to 25 feet of bonus speed now. Alright, now that we've completed the build, let's see how we did. First, the good. We have all of our trickster shenanigans. We can use our clone to trick our enemies and bait out all their big spells and attacks before coming in and slamming hard with ours. Speaking of hitting hard, we have a D10 damage weapon and plenty of Battlemaster maneuvers to use our abilities with. We're also fairly tanky. 16 AC and 187 HP means we can get into the thick of things and stay relatively healthy no problem. Now the bad. Unfortunately, we needed to grab Battlemaster to have the number of superiority die needed to get our full ultimate. Echo Knight would have been better to make our clone deal some additional damage and perform our abilities as well. We also can't turn invisible when we use our clone, but the ability to control that clone kinda pays off. So, what'd you think? I've included a link to this build via D&D Beyond in the description below, as well as Amazon links to the books used in the build. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We have a few awesome rewards, including access to our Discord community and monthly homebrew releases. We plan on churning out 1 League Champion build every week. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll catch you on the Rift, or in the Forgotten Realms.